What's happening, Brighton? The short answer is a lot. The long answer is this podcast. What's Up, Brighton is a show dedicated to the community we all love.
Hosted by Roger Burnett, Eric Meldrum, and Coach Mark Howell, this podcast will feature news, issues, and discussions impacting Livingston County and celebrate the people who make our slice of Michigan go and grow. This is What's Up, Brighton. I wanted to just quickly, worst topping on a pizza quick.
Anchovies.
Anchovies?
That was my go-to.
I don't even consider that a topping. Like, who has anchovies?
People do it, man. They do it.
Well, I would agree that is probably the worst topping ever.
Why does pizza have to be so divisive? I thought pizza brought people together. Oh, hi, everybody.
Hey, unifying.
Hey, welcome. Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 17. Welcome to episode 17 of the What's Up Brighton podcast. I'm Roger. Over there, we got Eric, and down here in the corner, we got Coach Mark. As always, we're going to run through the program like we always do. We're going to talk about what's going on around town. We're going to let Coach loose on his Huddle Up segment, as always.
Let's go.
And then we'll let my man Eric finish it up with his final thought. But first and foremost, as always, we'd like to introduce the one word that we all brought to the program today. So I'm going to let the coach kick that one off. Coach, what's your one word right now, my friend?
I'm bringing a little bit of fire today. Domination is my freaking word of the day. Let's go, right? Life, domination. I originally was going between domination and conquer. So that's where the mindset is, right? So it's all about just rolling forward and just excelling and just bringing it to the next level and just crushing whatever obstacle might be in your way. And that's what life is kind of propelling me on recently, and that's a word that just resonated in life.
I love it.
Let's go.
Mine is purging, kind of like a little bit of a spin off that. Mine's purging because it was funny because we had another podcast before this, and that was kind of the same conversation that we had, and I already had that on my mind of I'm letting go of things or getting rid of stuff in the house, and it's happening in all facets. Like springtime is that time. Like you do your spring cleaning, clean the closets out, like a bunch of clothes you didn't wear. You're getting rid of all the winter stuff, and even
maybe a kid you don't like,
throwing the kids out.
It never really stuck, that one.
We always wonder,
that was a mistake.
Is that really mine?
Anyways, I can't even recover from that one.
Totally hijacked it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. But no, in every facet of life, I think it's natural, and this is the season for it. And I find myself, kind of in that cycle right now. Like we're Memorial Day weekend, we chucked through the honey to-do list. And it wasn't just my wife's honey to-do list; it was mine too. Like, boom, that's gone. Do this, do that. Like it's happening.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, dominating the purge list.
Let's go.
Dominating the purge list.
Boom.
I love sport, as you guys know. That moment when they're having the 100-meter dash or the 400 relay where everyone's getting into the starting blocks.
Oh, yeah.
And that moment right before the gun goes off.
Anticipation.
Oh. That's my one word for the day is anticipation. I am in the starting blocks. And next week, Tuesday, I will be in front of a crowd of people that potentially could create a life-changing moment for our business.
Let's go.
So we've done the work.
Yep.
We've put in the reps. We know our plan. It's time to run the race.
There we go.
Anticipation. So there you have it.
Love it. Are we going to hear more about this opportunity?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm intrigued. I don't even know about it.
Let's put it on the list.
Yeah.
Put
He
it on the list.
kind of held that one back in our little pre-discussion. We don't even. I don't know what's happening.
I didn't see any show notes about that.
No show notes at all.
I like surprises. Let's go.
And
absolutely.
so anticipation. So
Let's go.
as we turn our attention to the local community, we have a giant sense of anticipation for what we might talk about today. Segue.
Oh,
That's pretty good.
There you go. Well, bring it. Hit us with it, Brad.
So here we are. And what we realized is in the now multiple into the teens episodes that we have of this program, we've kind of wandered away from what's it like to live in Brighton? What is it really, really like to wander around the streets of this town, like my good friend Eric just did this week, and have conversations with people?
Yeah.
So Eric, what's going on around town these days? You just went and did the thing.
Man.
So you were talking to folks. So
There's a lot. And for those of you who are watching, maybe you don't know, I have a YouTube channel where we talk about living in Michigan. And, Brighton is just one of those towns. We cover Livingston County, Washtenaw County, parts of Oakland County, Wayne County. And I make these videos to help people learn about what it's like, to live in our great state, in the areas that we call home. And Brighton always has this like different spin. And I know it's because I live here, right? And I feel it. But it's so real. And I felt that so much when I was out making this video. So yesterday we were out and about downtown, and I kind of scripted this video out, and the story arc was really on purpose because I wanted to showcase all of the beautiful things, about Brighton. So we started downtown, overlooking Mill Pond, talking about, all the things. You got the Imagination Station, you got Main Street, you got the Mill Pond, you got restaurants that you can grab food from. And then one of the segments that I wanted to put in there was actually talking to people that live here, that have lived here. And we ran into a guy, just so happens, like, you're walking around town with camera gear and everyone's like, oh, like,
Who are these guys?
what are you doing? What are you up to? Like,
I love camera guys. We should probably see what's going on.
yeah, exactly. So naturally you get those questions and then you just like start that conversation. I'd already planned to pull some people, from the street, just random people walking by. But this guy was perfect because he was an older gentleman. And in my mind, I'm like, he's probably been here for a while. Like he's probably seen the growth of Brighton. Complete opposite. The guy's lived here 2 years, but the story was awesome because he had lived here in the past. He moved to Canton, and then he had moved to New Hudson, and then back to Canton. And then when his wife died, he was like, I'm coming back to Brighton. I'm going back to Brighton. I love the community. And it was just a really nice story about like why he came back to Brighton, because of the people.
Boom.
Right. And that resonated throughout all the other interviews. I went in and interviewed more business owners,
That's awesome.
Downtown. And without me even saying anything, the 3 questions that I asked were, hey, what do you love about living in Brighton? Okay. How has Brighton evolved and grown since you've been here? Some people were here their whole entire lives. Like the owner of Great Harvest, Mac Hawes. Like he's been here his whole entire life, grew up here. Right. And he has nothing but great things to say about it. Even when like Main Street was a dirt road, right? Mac's not that old, but like,
He doesn't have to be that old because Brighton was just dirt road.
Right. It was a dirt road. But the thing that came out from everybody that we talked to was it always came back to the people. It always came back to the community. And we just so happen to live in a great surrounding area. There's a lot of nature, a lot of things, but everybody loves that portion of it, but they always relate it back to, well, it's really special because we get to spend it with people that actually love this stuff too. And the people make it what it is. So I just thought that was really, I wasn't searching for that, but that's the thing I always get. Right. And we have
That's
questions on the Brighton, Michigan Happenings group, as well. And Roger, you've seen them, and Mark, you've seen them, is we ask that same question. What do you love about living in Brighton?
Yep.
Right. And what's the most common response that you guys see in there?
Downtown.
Absolutely. The people.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. The community. I mean, there's no belaboring this. I mean, if you're watching this, chances are you're from around here for a while and you probably share that opinion. But for folks like Mark who have been here for a really long time, how's it? People are the same, but we're not going to try to pretend like it's not different. So Mark, for you, what's the most palpable difference to you from when you were a kid to now when it comes to Brighton? And that could be positive or negative or both.
I think just the the busyness of it. I mean, it's just so much more than when I grew up as a kid. Growing up here, it was, we had Maltby and Horning, and I remember, and we had Lindbaum, but I remember when Hilton was being built, and it was just down the road from my street, and now that's just one of the staple elementaries. And I mean, I remember when Pine Creek Ridge was being built, and the Dominion was being built, and so some of those higher end, staple communities that we've come accustomed to knowing where they are. And, it's just Brighton is kind of now really at like its max capacity, just about with people and how full it is with
full.
business and people and traffic and all the things and also opportunities and food and just options. Whereas, 20, 30 years ago, it was a little more scarce and a little bit simpler life. But yet the people in a lot of regards, and I think it's because it's been sort of generational in turning over who still lives here. The people remain rooted and grounded and, reasonable and, they care about one another. They care about their neighbors and, they support each other and this community like no other community around. And I've seen it. I've lived it. I've experienced it firsthand. I've watched it. And that's super unique, both from what I hear from outside of this Livingston County community and also from my own experience in just communicating with other people as well. So it's, I don't know, it's just like a special little, people always say like the Brighton bubble, but I look at that with like great pride, not with, some people have like a negative connotation, like, oh, you live in the Brighton bubble. It's like, yeah, but is that such a bad place to be in? I mean, it's special.
You live, right?
Yeah. And it really is special. And it's, I appreciate the fact that, although we're not maybe larger city, diversity and everything else, we have expanded our reach a little bit, and we have really expanded who we are as a people and as a community, and been more welcoming to different ideas and ways of life and people and everything else. And that's so important. But it is still like a Brighton bubble, and I think that bubble is really formed around love and community and respect. And it's not always perfect, and we see that even with people like, oh yeah, there's Brighton for you or whatever else. Is like, well, I'm sorry that you've had a negative experience, but the people who aren't saying anything, it's because they just disagree with you. Right? So like when your comment doesn't get a whole bunch of likes or loves or comments to it, it's because we just don't agree,
Yep.
And yeah.
Are you or a loved one struggling with the effects of stroke? The Oxford Center in Brighton, Michigan offers a cutting-edge alternative stroke treatment that can help stroke victims even years after having a stroke. Our approach combines traditional medicine with evidence-based alternative therapies, including hyperbaric oxygen therapy. This advanced treatment involves breathing pure oxygen in a specialized environment that can stimulate the growth of new blood vessels and promote healing in the brain. We also offer physical therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy programs to help patients regain their strength, coordination, and ability to communicate. Time is of the essence when it comes to stroke recovery. Contact the Oxford Center today at 248-486-3636 or visit our website at theoxfordcenter.com to learn more about our alternative stroke treatment options, including hyperbaric oxygen therapy. That's 248-486-3636 or visit theoxfordcenter.com.
I want to add something here because like I grew up in St. Clair Shores, and for those of you who lived on the east side of Detroit, like, East side. There's really not much of a downtown area. Like you go to Detroit, yeah, you got the downtown. But when I was growing up, I mean, Detroit was kind of like
foreign country.
Yeah, it was like
too far.
You go down there
right.
and you go to some games. And then as I got into high school, that was really the time when Detroit was like at its worst. I was like, hey, don't really.
You can't go there safely, right?
Yeah, you couldn't go there.
That's what we thought.
So not having that and like growing up in suburbia, where like everything's perpendicular, you got all the streets, like every house on the block looks the same. It was fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, I wouldn't change my childhood for anything, but not knowing any different, right? Growing up in that environment and then coming to Brighton, it is like two different worlds. And when I got into junior high, one of my best friends had a cottage on Long Lake in Heartland, right? So nice. It's so funny because like back then, we would drive out here and I'd spend pretty much like the whole entire summer. Like we're
going out west.
I thought it was north, like no joke.
Going
like,
north or west.
Told all my friends from school, I'm like, hey, going to Sean's cottage. It's up north.
It's up north, yeah. Baby. Well, this was up north for a lot of people for a long time.
Not knowing it's just due west, right?
Yeah,
stupid awesome. Naive kid. But we would come to Brighton occasionally to grab food because there was absolutely nothing in Heartland.
Right.
The Heartland Pizza Company was around back then.
Yeah.
And we used to ride our bikes there, grab a breadstick basket for like $1, which would feed us, like 3 of us. And then we'd ride our bikes back through the path, go to Long Lake and, have fun, go out on the island, get into some mischief.
It was a simpler time.
It was a simpler time.
So go to Novi.
Oh,
And compare it. That's all you got to do, because the comparison is stark. And I'm not going to knock my former town that I lived in for a really long time, but when I moved here, you can just tell the difference. But here's the thing. I want to get back to what you said, Mark, because the community saved your life. And what I feel like is happening to our community is our ability to take care of each other is being tested by all of these new people. And when it's a smaller town and you've gone to school with people and your parents know each other, and so when somebody gets sick and word gets around, holy cow, we got to help Mark because Mark's sick and he needs help. If the population explodes to 5 times the number of people, we can't know all those people.
right.
So it makes it really hard for us to feel like we can still do what we do for all these people that haven't gone to school with our kids, who we don't know their parents, who we've not had an opportunity to welcome them into our community, and it's too many people too fast.
Mm-hmm.
I know this because I've been asking my neighbors, trying to find out, like, what's the friction here, right? Because there's some friction in town around Old Brighton versus New Brighton.
That got brought up on some of my questions that I asked the business owners.
So what did you hear? I'm so curious as to what people might have said.
It was really interesting because I didn't ask for them to elaborate on it. They just kind of went into it. And one of the new business owners downtown, her circle, was really her church, right? Her neighborhood, and other than that, there really wasn't much of an expansion, outside of that inner circle that she had with people that she knew. And when she did her business, she started the farmer's market. So I should preface it with that. She started the farmer's market, kind of got her foot in there, and then things were going well. And she's like, I think we can make a go at this. Let's get a brick and mortar. Right. So they chose Brighton, right? Because they went to the Huddle and Brighton farmer's market. So they ended up choosing Brighton. They had the opportunity. One of the things she said that I thought was so interesting was that she went out of her way to go to every single business downtown and just introduce herself, whether it was eating at a new restaurant, that week, or popping in and shopping at another store and introducing him, a new business owner down here. So she took it upon herself. And that's what she said. She goes, and I asked them, what advice would you give somebody that's considering moving to the area? And she said, get involved, right? Be open-minded to talk to people about what's going on, and you'd be surprised the relationships and the people you've met. I've experienced that firsthand, even running the Brighton, Michigan Happening groups of people that just know who I am, right? Just by happenstance. Like they see my name pop up and, they would never have known me otherwise. Right. So I'm putting myself in a situation and opening that door to kind of invite that conversation, and it's opened a lot of doors. That's how all 3 of us, right,
absolutely,
really come together. So that I thought that was super interesting. And that's the other thing that my friend Tyler said, because he was helping me record that day, and we did a kind of an impromptu interview of he's lived in Brighton his whole 7 years. His wife's lived here her whole entire life, except for the year that they moved out and then they moved back. But same thing. Hey, get out and talk to the people.
Yep.
Just be open-minded about all the things that Brighton has to offer.
Yep. And the faster we can get everyone to do that, the less friction I think we'll experience as a community. And what do they say? Time and distance are the 2 great healers for all things that are wrong. So if we can get people together and get them spending time with one another at an event that would raise money for a really important charity in September. I'm sorry.
Maybe eat some pizza.
Eat some pizza. I'm sorry. We'll get some more of
Shameless
that
plug.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it really is. If you can get out and break this divide, and reminder to the community, this is our objective here, is to try to knock that wall down. So watch us work and get involved, because you'll get your chance, especially for those of you who are new to town. Here's a door that's open to you, including that chair one more time. We're just going to keep saying that chair, and we're going to tease a little bit about maybe a way for business owners to have a chance to do that in a more formal way coming up here in not too long. So as we put a wrapper on that part of the program, was there some sort of total that we want to convey to the crowd about how we feel about what's going on in life right now around town?
Well, I would just echo what a lot of the people said. Like, be open to what's going on. There's a lot of new stuff downtown, a lot of change, going on. And you can choose to embrace it and be open-minded about it, or kind of sit back and whine about it. But
I don't know why I even moved here. It's ridiculous.
Obviously, things are moving forward.
Well, I think also, with that, there's a lot of new businesses and a lot of new people that might be now maybe in the background formerly and now kind of thrust into the forefront of like, hey, here's who I am and here's my business and whatever. We want to know who you are. And this community is one that will rally around you and your business if all we know is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And when we will ensure that your success if we know who you are. And so find ways to do that. Find ways to get to know people, build those relationships locally, and this community will rally. They always do.
Yeah, I love the saying, people vote with their dollars.
Vote with your dollars, ladies.
Vote with your dollars. And the best way to get votes, right, is to build those relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right.
Formula for success. I'm going to hope that the Coach's Huddle Up segment somehow ties this whole thing together.
Man, now I'm kind of looking at it, and I think I'm going to pivot a little bit.
Ooh.
Right? So I had...
Careful, pivot is a provocative word.
I know, right? I know.
For
So
all
I
you Friends
had...
fans out there.
I came in with 2 messages, and I think I'm going to reverse them now. I am going to use... Because I think one just resonates really a little bit more with what we're talking about. And it correlates with uplifting others, right? And I think that the message is really foundational around... When we uplift others, we ignite our own potential. And I think it's, it's every act of kindness, every act of generosity, every moment of encouragement, everything. It not only lifts other people up and makes them better, makes them fueled up a little bit more energetic, more positive, everything else, but it ripples into your own life and it lifts you up as well. And it makes you grow, and it makes you a stronger person. It makes you realize your own potential. And it just has like a momentous capability within yourself to really dig a little bit deeper. It fuels our own growth and our own strength as well as others. And what better way to grow than together, than in a community, than with a group of people, right? There's nothing better than watching people around you in one community, in one team, in one organization, all go big together and realize their dreams together. Doing it solo is great. Doing it together is even better. When we lift others, it elevates their generosity. It elevates ourselves, and we generate a powerful cycle. It's just a cycle, perpetual cycle of positivity, of momentous resilience. And resilience, as we know, the more positive we can be and the stronger that cycle is that we're building together, when obstacles do come our way and when those hurdles in life come our way, we're just going to blow right through them. If you don't have the momentum already generated and that community of people and that support and that powerhouse behind you kind of working, whether you know it or not, then that obstacle is going to be a much bigger one to overcome. I know that I can speak in my own realm, in my own life of, the biggest journey in my life was a cancer diagnosis. And yet it was that much easier to overcome because I had a huge community of people behind me. And if I had to do that solo mission, I'm pretty confident I would not be here today. And I guarantee that someone watching has their own journey, right? Their own their own obstacle that they might be going through. Maybe you have just gotten over it. Maybe you're just approaching it. Maybe you're in it right now and you're in the thick of it and you're thinking, I don't know how I'm going to get into this. I don't know how I'm going to get past this. I don't know how I'm going to overcome it. But that community of people that's around you, if you generate that and if you lift them up when your hard comes, you'll be able to blow through that obstacle that much easier, right? It's not just about us. Our lives are meant to do it together. Life is meant to be done in community. And so just to kind of put a bow on that. Your light has the power to spark greatness in those around you and within yourself. So shine brightly, inspire fiercely. I love that one. Inspire fiercely, right? Don't hold back. Inspire others, inspire your life. And together, we can achieve the extraordinary.
We can achieve the extraordinary. Yeah.
It's like the church of Coach Mark these days. Like, I'm just wanting to throw the
Inspiration, motivation.
Praise the Lord. The African proverb goes, if you'd like to go far, go alone. If you'd like to go fast, go alone. If you'd like to go far, go together. That's
Powerful.
the epitome
Powerful. Yep.
of what this man is talking about right now. So that's killer, as always. The DVD of Coach Mark's Huddle Up segment, it will be available for $149.99 on Amazon very soon.
You just imagine.
Right? Let's go.
Compilation.
We're doing it. It's 100, like foregone conclusion. I just manifested it.
There you go.
Do you have a final thought for us?
Yeah, I got some final thoughts, and I think it ties together really well with, like, the community. If you want to go far, go together. Just being out, shooting that video yesterday, it was the first time that I had really talked to people about, like, how they felt about the new downtown area, and some of the business owners really suffered, during that time. So as I was kind of chit-chatting with some business owners down there, just seeing how things have rebounded, the resounding consensus was we were all pissed during that time frame. Right?
Naturally,
no
right?
No surprise. But we are so happy that we made it through the other side.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
And now we get to enjoy the fruits of this labor.
Okay.
All right. So
Mission accomplished.
it just kind of reminded me of this, like, resilience, right? Like, when you get hit with this major problem, right, you can choose whether you go in this dark moment, right, where you may veer off and, like, go alone, right, and say, I don't really need anybody's help. I'm just going to, have my pity party over here, okay, and complain about it and not be a change maker, But a lot of the business owners took the other direction, which is, hey, we're going to come together. We're going to do something. And whether that helped their spirit, whether it helped their motivation to just show up positively every day, right?
Kept their doors open.
Open. It was just so nice to hear and so nice to see everybody downtown enjoying it. And it just gave that whole full picture. Like, this is the sense of community, right? Which is why so many people love living in Brighton. Why so many people that I talk to always say, be open to just getting out and exploring, right? Like, we've met people at the Imagination Station just letting our girls play that we've probably never met, right? Because our kids don't go to the same school, right? Or they're, just in some different circle, right? But if you're open to just having those conversations with people, and everybody's so welcoming. Like, I've never been to another city. Like, we've taken the girls to Milford. Let's say Milford is probably one of the closest to, like, people are really welcoming there too. But some other cities were like, that doesn't happen. Right. Like, people are like, there's my kids, like, go do my thing. So it was just really refreshing, to be out, enjoying downtown, hearing that other people are really digging it, right? Despite somebody broke the fire pit down there, no big deal, right? We'll get it fixed. And it just gave me that sense and reminded me that this community is where I want to be.
Yeah.
Right, every single day.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's all. That's everything. What else would I possibly have to add to that? So for those of you who have not yet subscribed to the program, please, we'd love to see growth in the subscriber numbers. It keeps us motivated to keep bringing you that high quality content. If you know someone that would benefit from sitting in that fourth seat, would want to come and spend some time with us on the program, please feel free to let us know about them. And if there was anything about this program that you think would bring a smile or a laugh to someone around town, please feel free to share that with anyone and everyone that you think might be interested in seeing it. And until next time, this is me, Roger, signing off.